Hello there, YouTube. Today's thoughts of no one in particular is an interesting one because I shall be thanking a Tory or Conservative Party member, and not just any Tory. I shall be thanking the current Home Secretary, Theresa May, famous, of course, for probably the weirdest scandal ever to have "gate" slapped on the end of it. I really hate it when people do that, as if Watergate was the only big scandal in history. But that's another issue for another time. But she was, of course, famously involved in Catgate.
Home Secretary, are you in a cat fight with Ken Clarke? She wears the kitten heels, he wears the hush puppies, but it's a cat that split these cabinet colleagues after her words on immigration.
The illegal immigrant who cannot be deported because, and I am not making this up, because he had a pet cat. That is why I remain of the view that the Human Rights Act needs to go.
Except as he listened, Ken Clarke thought she was making it up.
I heard Theresa refer to this case and I sat there with a Victor Meldrew reaction. You know, I cannot believe it.
But you don't believe that cat story, do you?
I'd be amazed if someone resisted deportation on the basis that they owned a cat here. I don't know, we may have some very, very strange tribunal sitting somewhere, but I'll have a bet with her. I bet she can't find the cat.
Home Secretary, do you stand by the story? Because your cabinet colleague is saying that the story's not true. So the Home Secretary under pressure after the Judicial Office said Maya the cat had nothing to do with the illegal immigrants staying in the UK.
Well, the cat case did exist, and but what I know is that it's not the only case that has led to us looking at the immigration rules.
Theresa May's call for the Human Rights Act to go was extremely popular. The Prime Minister also wants it gone. Nick Clegg certainly doesn't, but coalition differences overshadowed by Tory ones. Lucy Manning, ITV News, Manchester.
So yeah, that happened. You know what? Forget it. Americans, British people, whatever, if you want to put "gate" on the end of any scandal, go ahead, because our scandals are shit over here. And no, I'm not counting the ATOS massacre, because that is actually a crime against humanity. Anyhow, it's not the subject of today's video. That will get me very angry again, so I won't mention it again. Today's video, I'd like to thank Mrs. May for finally refusing the extradition request of the United States for fellow autistic man Gary McKinnon. And, of course, I'm not going to forget him, my local MP David Burrows, who lent very heavily on his government and his party in order to do this. Yes, Mrs. May's reasoning was his health grounds, and they're reasonable enough reason, really. The guy was very, very unstable as a result of 10 years of protracted torture, of being threatened to actually be dragged off the US for being electroshocked and beaten up and whatever they had planned for him, knowing the US, and a mock trial where they fabricate all the evidence and end up sending him to prison for the rest of his life or even killing him. Yeah, we know how the US justice system works, and yeah, that to me was the real reason she should have stopped it. She should have really kept to her election promise of tearing up that extradition treaty completely. Because the US as it stands, I have nothing against Americans themselves, I just have a lot against your government and the way it operates, even under the smiling face of fascism, Barack Obama. Because you still haven't got it. You haven't got anywhere near civilization over there, and I don't want any British citizen subjected to your vengeance system, frankly. So yes, thank you, Mrs. May. Thank you for once again, even though your reasons were somewhat suspect, beating down the our rather backwards cousins overseas on this again. I'm talking about the government, not the people. And yeah, good job.
Catwoman wins. Fatality.